Tonight, 7 persons killed, others injured, and property destroyed in an inferno resulting from power outage at Gadabiyu in Just North local government area of Plateau State. A PDP candidate in the 2023 governorship election in Lagos State, Olajide Adediran, files his notice of appeal challenging the tribunal judgment which affirmed the victory of Governor Sanwo-Olu. A victim of jungle justice in Delta State seeks justice after she was almost killed by an angry mob. Police arrest her accusers for raising false alarm. And humanitarian crisis resulting from the Israel-Hamas war deepens as Israel military gears up for next stage of operations amidst huge protests in the United Kingdom and other places against the war.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's finance minister cites private investment capital flow as major pathway to Nigeria's economic recovery journey, as he highlights key takeaways from the week-long IMF World Bank annual meetings in Morocco.
And on sports news tonight, fifth seed Andrei Rublev defeats Grigor Dimitrov 7-6, 6-3 to set up a clash with Poland's Hubert Hurkacz in the Shanghai Masters final.
Well, it's a Black Saturday in Just North local government area of Plateau State, where no fewer than 7 persons have died following a fire incident in the Kabong area of Gadabiyu community. The early morning fire, which left several others injured with varying degrees of burns, was attributed to high-voltage electricity discharged from a power line which feeds the community. Meanwhile, officials of the Jos Metropolitan Development Board have promised to get to the root of the incident.
It's a Black Saturday for residents of Kabong, a suburb of Gadabiyu area of Jos North local government area of Plateau State. 7 persons were reportedly electrocuted and some others injured due to a high-tension cable that bridged with service wire supplying electricity to the community, resulting in the loss of lives and destruction of property due to fire that emanated from the high-voltage power supply. The fire was so severe that it burnt electricity installations, a development that brought officials from the Jos Metropolitan Development Board to the scene to ascertain the level of damage caused by the inferno.
It started from a pole which now affected the transformer and then led to electrocution of some people in their homes even while they were sleeping. So we are just here, so we investigate, we'll find out the root cause and then take the necessary actions.
In the home of the Davids, sympathizers gathered to commiserate with them on the loss of 2 of their family members. Martha David, who witnessed it all, narrates how it happened.
It was around 2-3 this early morning when we saw a flash of light and a sound like a thunder. So my elder sister Naomi now came out of the room to advise everybody should come out to off every socket and bulb in the room. So in the process, we came out. She now called my younger brother Abraham that fridge in your kitchen that is sounding so loud. Carry the key, open the kitchen and off it. He now said, okay. That was when he now came, picked the key, went into the kitchen. Immediately he entered the kitchen. I was standing by the door there. She was standing by the well here. So he now entered. The moment he put his hand on the socket to off the light, we now heard a shout. Immediately he shouted once, nothing more again.
While the Davids are mourning their dead, these residents and business owner in the area share their own story.
There's a call that I received by 3 p.m. That 3 a.m. in the morning that my shop is catching fire. I rushed from my house. I came here. I was seeing that the fire is so very obvious. There's a lot of people here trying to off the fire. Unfortunately, they open the shop, they off. Before we get inside, everything inside the shop were properly burned down.
What we know about NEPA, we know that it's a control room. We say such thing happen, they're supposed to take, like they switch the light off. But we was here over 45 minutes to 1 hour. Since 3 o'clock, it was after 4 when fire service came, they took the lights. So we have to blame the person who was in control, whether he drunk or he slept off. We don't know. That is my own opinion.
The bodies of the dead have been deposited at the Bengam University Teaching Hospital mortuary, where some of the injured are also being treated, and those with severe burns were on referral to the Jos University Teaching Hospital.
8 victims were brought into the hospital. Out of that 8, 6 were already brought in dead. They were brought in dead, confirmed from home, while just 2 were alive.
As Kabong residents count their losses due to the fire incident, it is pertinent on the power supply company to regularly monitor and ensure that maintenance and services of electric cables are carried out to avoid the occurrence of such incidents, especially in densely populated areas.
To legal matters now, the PDP candidate in the 2023 Lagos governorship election, Olajide Adejiran, popularly known as Jandor, has filed his notice of appeal challenging the September 25th tribunal judgment which affirmed the victory of Governor Sanwo-Olu of the APC in that election. The 38-page document, dated October the 13th with 34 grounds of appeal, was filed by his team of lawyers led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Clement Onwewuno, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Governor Sanwo-Olu, his deputy Kadri Hamzat, the APC, the Labour Party and its candidate, Gbadebo Rhodes Vivar, are all listed as respondents to the notice of appeal. The PDP candidate maintains that contrary to the conclusion of the tribunal, the issue of disqualification of the winner of an election is both a pre- and post-election dispute, and it was highly erroneous of the tribunal to treat it as merely pre-election issue. He and his party also reiterated the reliefs in their petitions asking for the disqualification of the candidates of both the APC and Labour Party. Mr. Adejiran also said that he deserved to raise issues on the tertiary qualifications of Governor Sanwo-Olu, which he said were built on a false A-level WAEC certificate. Among other reliefs, he wants the Court of Appeal to hold that the tribunal had no jurisdiction to hold that the different names in the different certificates presented by Governor Sanwo-Olu belong to one and same person. Well, security concerns remain a priority for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, ahead of the off-season governorship elections in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo states. And as the commission promises to meet with heads of security agencies before the elections in November, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, buttressed this point in Lokoja, where he monitored a mock accreditation exercise conducted by the commission. According to him, the exercise is meant to ascertain the level of preparedness and to ensure, or rather be sure of the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system ahead of the polls.
It's barely 1 month to the forthcoming governorship election in Kogi State, and this visit by the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is one of those preparedness assessment visits to the state. His first stop is at this center, which will serve as the Kogi Local Government Collation Center in the November governorship election. The INEC chairman also visited other centers in Lokoja and Ajaokuta local government areas, where officials conducted mock accreditation exercise for voters. Although the INEC chairman is satisfied with the level of preparedness and the functionality of the BVS machines, he is concerned about security, as he promises to convene a meeting with security agencies ahead of the polls.
Next week, Friday, there is going to be a high-level meeting in Abuja, chaired by myself and the National Security Advisor, in which all the security chiefs will be present, no representation, to discuss the issue of security for the 3 states, so on top of the situation in terms of security arrangement and security deployment.
The INEC chairman also clears the air on the mode of transmission of results during the elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states.
Electronic accreditation, electronic upload of results on the IRF portal, and that is why we are doing this mock. So please disregard whatever was reported about what the rep was said to have said in Bayelsa. That's going to be the procedure, and it's for that reason that I will advise you also, for those who are registered on the IRF portal, that in the next 2 hours or so, you should go to the IRF portal, you'll see the result of the mock from all the 3 states.
There are over 1.9 million registered voters in Kogi State, And when combined with those in Bayelsa and Imo State, INEC is hoping to attend to over 5 million voters in the forthcoming governorship elections in the 3 states, making it the largest off-season election to be undertaken by the Commission since the conclusion of the 2023 general election in March.
And staying with the upcoming off-cycle election, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has taken its rescue mission agenda to Ijumu local government area of Kogi State. Addressing party faithful at Iyara, the headquarters of Ijumu local government area, the governorship candidate of the party, Mr. Lekia Bejide, says there is an urgent need to rescue the state and her people from what he described as mismanagement, which has impoverished the people.
It is the turn of Ijumu local government area of Kogi State to host the campaign train of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as over 30 support groups welcome the governorship candidate of the party to the area. With his rescue mission agenda, the ADC governorship candidate believes it's time to liberate the people of Kogi State.
We will make sure all the money that's supposed to come to local government, the local government chairman will be a mini governor, because if it is 150 million that is allocated to him, naira, it will come to him. The only problem I will have, if he doesn't take care of you, I will fight that person and remove him. If it is 200 million that is allocated to his local government, he must pay salary of the local government workers in full.
On his part, the ADC deputy governorship candidate, who is a former commissioner of health in Kogi State, promises to create better healthcare facilities for the people of the state.
We are going to ensure that our hospital, you do not just go there and walk out of the place, you go there and take treatment and return home happy. We are going to charge our local government primary healthcare areas, because this administration, by the special grace of God, if you vote us in, we are going to ensure that your local government authorities have their money they are supposed to have, so that they can work very, very well for you.
Traditional rulers are not left out of the rescue mission agenda, as the ADC governorship candidate makes a promise of 20 million naira to them. As the ADC governorship candidate departs Ijumu local government area to prepare for his next campaign in Adavi local government area, the team makes a brief stopover at Ayutoro, where he is welcomed by party supporters.
And on to security, the military says troops of one mechanized division of the Nigerian Army have rescued 6 kidnapped victims during a clearance operation in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. According to a statement by the acting spokesperson of one mechanized division, Lieutenant Colonel Musa Yaya, the troops, acting on credible intelligence, quickly mobilized and embarked on a search and rescue operation in the area. On making contact with the bandits, the troops engaged them in a heavy gun battle, during which the 6 kidnapped victims were rescued with one of the bandits neutralized and 2 AK-47 rifles recovered. While commending the troops for their efforts, the General Officer commanding one mechanized division, Major General Valentine Okoro, appealed to all medical establishments to be on the lookout for persons with gunshot wounds and report such persons to the Nigerian Army or other security agencies for prompt action. In part 2, after the break, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State raises concern on the menace of ghost workers in the state civil service, as it says it is growing payroll is at variance with actual number of workers employed. But that's the moment. Just stay with us. You're welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. Well, here's a reminder of our top stories. 7 persons killed, others injured, and property destroyed in an inferno resulting from power outage in Gadabiu, just north local government area of Plateau State. PDP candidate in the 2023 governorship election in Lagos State, Olajide Adediran, files his notice of appeal challenging the tribunal judgment, which affirmed the victory of Governor Sanwo-Olu of the APC. A victim of jungle justice in Delta State seeks justice after she was almost killed by an angry mob. Police arrest her accusers for raising false alarm. And a humanitarian crisis resulting from the Israel-Hamas war deepens as Israel military gears up for next stage of operations amidst huge protests in the United Kingdom and other places against the war. The Borno State Police Command says it has arrested 6 persons it claims are behind the theft of some train coaches belonging to the Nigerian Railway Corporation at the Maiduguri Railway Terminus in Borno State. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Yusufu Mohammed, told Channels Television that the alleged mastermind, who claimed to be a staff of the Railway Corporation in Bauchi, loaded the 2 coaches into a trailer to be transported to Jos, but was halted by the police station acting on the tip-off. According to Commissioner Mohammed, the suspects claimed to be working on an MOU signed between the Plateau State government and the NRC on intra-state transportation service. But in a swift reaction, the Nigerian Railway Corporation has debunked the claim by the police. The managing director of the NRC, Mr. Fidelis Okeria, explained that the coaches were being moved to the NRC running shed in Jos to be overhauled and put back into operation. And now we turn our attention to jungle justice, a mix of lawlessness and violence, which sees victims come under attack based on frivolous allegations without being allowed access to fair hearing. This is the unfortunate case of 68-year-old Anne Ikechukwu, a mother and grandmother, who was almost killed after being falsely accused of a rather bizarre offense of stealing a young man's genital in Asaba, the Delta State capital. She's asking the police to help her get justice as she remains in pains even after being treated at the hospital. Meanwhile, the Delta State Police Command has arrested her accuser, an 18-year-old Ebube Linus, and his brothers for raising the false alarm.
About a week ago, the social media space was awash with a viral video of an elderly woman being beaten and stripped by an angry mob along the DBS road in Asaba, Delta State, after a young boy identified as Ebube Linus raised an alarm that she touched him and afterwards his genitals went missing. The alarm caught the attention of people around who gathered and stripped the victim of her clothes, beat her up, inflicting injury and attempting to burn her alive before the police intervened. Upon arrival at the state headquarters, it was discovered that the alarm was false and led to the immediate arrest of the accuser while the victim was taken to hospital for treatment. A few days after the incident, the suspect and his brothers, who were part of the conspiracy, are being paraded by the police.
The main charges we have against them for now is attempted murder, because that woman was beaten to the point that if the policemen were not there on time, I don't think she would have survived it. You had a report of someone that was beaten at, I think, Kwale or so. Before he got to the hospital, he died. Even this woman that is at the hospital, we just pray she survived. We pray she survived. So for now, we are holding them for attempted murder.
I see the woman come down with me together. So as I come down, the keke now move. Before I know, my body started feeling somehow. I didn't get myself again. So I shout that, "Ma, what do you do in my body that I'm not getting myself? My dick is doing somehow." She said that, "What am I talking about? That they should calm down, that will take me to Ogun first. From there, it's not touching my body, that anything that removed in my body should come back. Everything that removed my body should come back. From there, the police now came and packed all of us to GRA station.
At her residence, the victim, who is still receiving treatment, narrates her ordeal.
They slapped me. They beat me. I fall down. They call people. Say, this woman, collect something for my... collect ammo. You go put them back or she die. Go put them or she die. I say, Jesus, I know put anything, no. Waiting be that to wake come out, I know.
The Delta State Police Command says jungle justice will no longer be tolerated, as it urges residents to seek the intervention of the police in settling disputes and not resort to self-help.
To governance in Bauchi State, where Governor Bala Mohammed has expressed concern over what he terms the growing payroll of the state without commensurate employment of workers. The governor, who says he believes there are still ghost workers in the system, challenged his commissioners to come up with a credible database of their ministries to pave the way for the enrollment of fresh graduates into the civil service. He stated this at the end of a 3-day retreat organized for top government officials in the state.
People are retiring. They are migrating to pension platforms. But my salaries, the portfolio is increasing. And I wasn't employing. We have unemployment in the system. And nobody will come and give me any explanation as to what is happening. But we will be just getting ourselves engrossed in conjectures and convectives, polemics, semantics on issues. We have to make the savings. Yesterday, Dr. Ishaku has spoken very well. I think it's a challenge to our civil service and to our political appointees, all of us. The new commissioners are here. You are to drive the nominal role. We have to get tangible and measurable savings from the salary portfolio. Otherwise, we cannot get money to employ. We have told the people of Bauchi that we are going to employ over 10,000 in the system. We no more have the technical people, the engineers, the accountants, the administrative officers. They are all gone. Our systems are so poor. And yet we will sit here and delude and deceive ourselves, paying 6 to 7 billion naira monthly while not employing. Some people are earning what they don't work for.
A former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Yakubu Dogara, has attributed Nigeria's developmental challenges to poor leadership, which he says the country has suffered from over the years. He also faults the country's education curriculum, which he says was never designed to prepare people for leadership positions. He was speaking at the Young Leaders Clinic, a leadership program of the University of Abuja and the Tertiary Education Fund aimed at grooming young people for leadership positions.
The former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Yakubu Dogara, along with some 7 members of the 10th Assembly, are special guests at the University of Abuja Young Leadership Clinic.
The kind of friends that you keep.
The conference targets secondary school students, especially those holding positions as prefects and club captains. The objective is to groom these young people for greater leadership roles in the future.
We believe that when we train you, we will consciously develop in you great leaders for Nigeria. That Nigeria will be lucky to have this problem of leadership eliminated once and for all and forever.
The problem of Nigeria is leadership.
The conversations focus on the challenges of leadership in Nigeria and how it can be fixed. The former Speaker of the House of Representatives attributes Nigeria's challenges in different sectors to bad leadership.
It is said that a fish rots from the head. Healthy societies are raised by good leaders, while bad leaders push societies into decay. If a leader is rotten, the country will be rotten. There's no country that will be rotten will know fish, for instance, that will be rotten, and then the head of the fish is fresh. It's impossible. So once you see bad governance, know that it is bad leadership.
However, the representative of the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Toby Okechukwu, underscores the need for effective management of Nigeria's diversity.
We must also appreciate that we are a blessed country and that this rainbow nation and this country with a lot of diversity, if we are able to manage our diversity well, we shall overcome our circumstance.
The consensus at this conference is that poor leadership is at the root of Nigeria's underdevelopment, and to get it right, there is an urgent need to start grooming the next generation of leaders on the best leadership qualities that will lead to national development.
To infrastructure in Edo State, the issue of failed federal roads remains on the front burner, yet again highlighting the difficulties experienced by motorists, especially drivers of haulage vehicles on the roads. That's why the Edo State Tipper Lorry Drivers Association is making a passionate appeal to the federal government to fix all federal roads in the state. Members of the association condemn what they term the politicization of road repairs, noting that it is affecting their business adversely. Our correspondent, Osaze Obaze, reports.
Haulage trucks going about their businesses. It certainly isn't an easy road. Navigating through these roads are not only tortuous and nerve-wracking, they also cause damage to the body, undercarriage and tires of the vehicles. These tipper truck drivers constitute part of those who have to plow through these roads. The roads, as far as they are concerned, are a killjoy.
No road, the situation where driver will be on the road will now begin to experience what they call hold up that cannot keep you for 1 week, 5 days, and the owner of the vehicle will be calling you, bring my money, you are not balancing and all. So the thing is really telling on the association. We will appeal to the federal government to put politics aside, because with what we are experiencing so far, it's politics.
The Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has consistently raised his frustrations to the federal government, asking them to do the right thing and save people from their misery.
It's like a war situation where we cannot move within our state, because whereas we are blessed with an extensive network of federal roads, because of the lack of capacity of the federal government to maintain its roads and assets and the unwillingness to allow other people maintain these roads, we in Edo are almost cut off, and the country is almost cut off.
The Minister of Works, David Umahi, recently dropped by to do an on-the-spot assessment of the situation in Edo State. He gave vent to his feelings about the federal roads in Nigeria.
We shall no more do surface dressing on our shoulders. I have directed that all projects must stop and be redesigned on concrete. The truth is that there is none of this road built from Abuja to Benin that will last the next 5 years. That is the truth. And that is very, very unfortunate. And so they are going to do this. And contractors do not expose the subgrade, the subbase, the base course to traffic compaction. Most of the time we don't do compaction tests or what you call penetration tests. These are the reasons why our roads are failing.
With the soaring cost of prices of goods and services, it is hoped that these roads are fixed as soon as possible, because good interstate federal roads play a significant part in the efforts to boost economic activities and the development of the country. Osaze Obaze, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, infrastructure development is touted as a priority for the present administration to be driven by the new Infrastructure Support Fund for the revamping of transportation across the country. One of such places in urgent need of government's attention is the Kara Bridge at the Ishere part of Ogun State. In this special report, our correspondent Kelly Giga takes a tour of the bridge head of the road, which is also home to the popular Kara cattle market.
We all went through one form of discomfort or the other, but we want to say thank you for bearing with us now that the phase one of the job has been delivered.
A huge sigh of relief for the thousands of Nigerians who ply the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. For months, commuters witnessed immense anguish trying to get to their destinations through this ever-busy highway. Some ending up losing precious man-hours and missing important appointments, and others falling victims of traffic robbery. Perhaps the suffering that motorists were subjected to while the reconstruction of the highway, especially in the Kara axis, would have been reduced if the authorities had made this underpass an alternative route, particularly for motorists willing to make a U-turn. A cursory look at recent events on the expressway have cast a long shadow on the country's infrastructure drive and left many grappling with questions about our maintenance culture. For example, at the Otedola axis of the road, accidents such as this, which happen quite often, leave cracks on the bridge. Vandalizing and selling off bridge railings and crash barriers is also a hobby to some citizens. At Kara Ishere, what typically identifies the market, also known as Oluwanishola Market for many, is the Kara Bridge, which was constructed by the Murtala Muhammad-led military administration but commissioned by General Olusegun Obasanjo in 1978. The market is surrounded by the Ogun River, which is now a dumping site for residents of the area, and the river appears contaminated. We drive under the bridge and we're received by officials from the market. But to embark on this journey, we are properly kitted with boots we have just rented. This cattle market is arguably the most popular in southwestern Nigeria. Alhaji Hamza Saidu is the financial secretary of the market. He takes us around the market and decries the deplorable state of the roads, especially during rainy season. He's also critical of the Ogun State government over the burden of heavy taxation with little or nothing to show as basic amenities.
But there is no help. I have never seen it. We are looking for it from the government. If the government can come to our aid, at least we'll be very happy. And this our business will be more than the way we are now. Look at the cows everywhere. Look at the people everywhere. They came to transact their business. Some of them, they will not even come whenever the rain started. They will run away. Why? Because the place is not well tied well.
At the tarmac, a place where cows are kept, waiting for buyers, Alhaji Hamza says the poor state of things is affecting business. But beyond the livestock, some dwellers have turned the filthy underbridge into their homes, as shanties and squatter communities. There is no drainage system, muddy toilet facilities, and pipe-borne water. The roads are terrible, full of mud and in a messy condition. And beside the pillars by the river, it's a laundry day for these squatters. We are under the Kara Bridge, and some of these squatters live here, work here, sleep here, and despite the filth and stench, some others eat here, but they want the government at all levels to urgently come to their aid. We visit the palace of the Olofi of Ishere. He reveals efforts made and re-echoes the call for the construction of an underpass and pedestrian bridge in the axis.
The underpass
for Kara is a very major and critical infrastructure, which I believe the government has taken into cognizance, because I sent a letter to the Ministry of Works when the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway started recently under the last administration. I sent a letter to them, and I sent to Julius Berger, of which Julius Berger actually came and responded. And, we had this discussion, and they told me it's actually part of their design that there was going to be an underpass for Kara, and they were looking forward to completing the carriageway and coming back to it. But, with the look of things, they've finished this phase of the express and they've moved on. But, there's a whole lot of residents on this side of the express, and everybody wants to go into Lagos for their daily activities, so they have to cross the express, which is very bad for them. On an average, weekly, we record some loss of life along this part of the express.
The current state of the maintenance on the expressway, the deplorable state of the market and underpass, perhaps demands government's urgent attention. But will the government respond? Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News.
Well, staying with infrastructure in Lagos this time around, where residents whose properties are blocking drainage channels in the state may have cause to worry, as the government has vowed to bring down such structures irrespective of the owner's status. The State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources issued this warning when he visited Ikota and VGC areas of Lekki in Lagos East to monitor the demolition of illegal structures, as well as inspect canals in the area. He says the government will ensure that the state master plan is restored.
Officials of the Lagos State Ministry of Housing, led by the Commissioner in charge, Maruf Akinderu Fatai, visit Sheridan Garden Estate, VGC Lekki, to inspect ongoing housing projects on 3.46 hectares of land, with 131 home units, a joint venture between the Lagos State government and its partners to help reduce the housing deficit. The team moves to Abraham Adesoya, also on the island, for an on-the-spot assessment of 226 home units sitting on 2.486 hectares of land. Interested partners take responsibility for the construction, some of which are completed and occupied. Another 44 home units are waiting to be allocated. Road 402 linking other estates is under construction, and this massive land space is yet to be taken over by structures, but the contractor has been asked to submit all necessary building materials and documents before construction can begin.
Your length, your depth, your soil test, send it in.
Lagos Homes Shongotedo scheme is the final stop. Phase 1 has 62 blocks comprising 744 units. Phase 2 is 42 blocks of 504 units, yet to be completed due to the dollar exchange rate. The commissioner says funds have been approved by the governor for the contractor to return to site.
We have about 3,500 ongoing everywhere. And you recall that our target was to reach the level of 7,000 before the end of the first term. The foreign exchange issues has made most of our contractors to leave site. You can see that they are not here. And because every day the prices of materials keep on going up. So Mr. Governor has graciously approved fund for the contractors and the infrastructure. So we are sure that the moment they get back to site within 3 months, they should be able to conclude. Looking at this phase 2, we are hoping that by first year of Mr. Governor, we should be able to commission this particular place.
Meanwhile, the special advisor on housing warns those in the real estate business to stop inflicting pain on Lagosians.
Real estate developers in Lagos State that are not registered with LASHERA should please come forward first to register, and so we can regulate them. And also, the estate agents that are found wanting would face the full strength of the law. So please do not dupe people. Don't collect money from people under the pretense of you would help them get a property.
All the schemes visited are within Etiosa local government area, and the state government says all housing projects will be delivered in the next 7 months.
And to aviation now, Governor Obasani of Kaduna State is promising to improve security around the Kaduna International Airport to encourage flight operations from the facility. Governor Sani stated this when he met with the management of Air Peace in Abuja, where it was agreed that the airline will resume flight operations to and from the facility later this month. He adds that he's optimistic that the resumption of flights at the airport will boost the economy of the state and create more job opportunities.
The decision to now resume on the 23rd of October, for me, is something that not only me, the entire people of Kaduna State, and by extension, many people from the northwestern part of Nigeria will surely benefit in terms of their business, their investment, because Kaduna is the gateway. And Kaduna is also a state where our airport link many other states within the northwestern part of Nigeria. For me, that is a welcome development, and I believe it will improve the economy of the people of Kaduna State, and by extension, it will revitalize the economies of our traders, businessmen, even our farmers within the at least 6 states. And of course, that is the reason why, even before this meeting, I was able to meet the chief of defense staff, the chief of the air staff, as well as the chief of the army staff. Both of them have a good working relationship with Kaduna State. They have also assured me of their readiness to partner with Kaduna to give us maximum security within the airport and all the villages around the airport.
In other stories, the chairman of Boa Group, Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu, is amongst members of the Muslim community leading an appeal fund that will see to the reconstruction of the Malam Abdul Karim Central Mosque located in Zaria, Kaduna State. 2 months ago, the mosque collapsed, leading to the death of some worshippers with several others injured. The chairman of Boa Group, who is the chief launcher at the fundraising event in Abuja, pledged the sum of 2 billion naira to the project.
Muslim clerics, traditional rulers, past and serving government officials are converging on the Yaradua Center in Abuja to kickstart a process that will see to the rebuilding of the Malam Abdul Karim Central Mosque in Zaria City. The Emir of Zazao and the Governor of Kaduna State sets the tone for the day as they announce a measure that will see to the contribution of funds for the task ahead.
This is the first time the Emirate is inviting people from all over the world to support us in reconstructing the mosque because of the size as well as the long history of 187 years when it was first constructed.
The mosque is a symbol of our uniqueness as people and our long link with Islam and Islamic traditions.
The edifice, while serving as a religious center, also serves as a place for the preservation of the historical culture and values of the Zaria people for close to 200 years. Rebuilding it is seen as a task that must be done.
We must have a convenient and beautiful place to worship Allah, to pray to Him. So I'm totally 100% in support of this reconstruction, bringing a new edifice that will all be very happy.
The chairman of Boa Group, Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu, is the chief launcher, and he encourages all the well-meaning individuals and private institutions to support the cause.
On behalf of myself, my family, and my foundation, ASR Africa, I would like to make a contribution towards the reconstruction of this very important and significant project of 2 billion naira.
When completed, this is what the new edifice will look like. It will accommodate worshippers from and around Zaria Center who desire to worship and gain some knowledge of the culture and traditions of the Zazzau Emirate.
Well, business news is next on the news at 10 with Ladi Williams.
Thanks, Kayode. On business news, improving access to private investment capital flows is a takeaway from the 2023 IMF World Bank annual meetings for Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edu. At a briefing with journalists from Nigeria, Mr. Edu shared the outcome of the meetings he attended, to include the attention of economic leaders in Africa to follow the path of improving domestic revenue and attracting long-term foreign investment. Meanwhile, the minister says $1.5 billion concessionary loan from the World Bank to support Nigeria's budget funding is likely to come soon, as talks are ongoing for the request.
During various meetings, we were encouraged that our reforms in Nigeria, our reform efforts, are being globally acknowledged and applauded as capable of putting Nigeria on the path to economic recovery. We emphasized access to investment capital, access to private investment capital flows particularly, and at a large scale and in a timely manner, as well as we also emphasized the overall need for support from the private sector around the world, because no matter how much you try and raise domestically, and no matter how much multilateral institutions are able to give, it is a drop in the ocean compared to if you can attract foreign direct investment.
And officials of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry have been speaking on the need for small business owners in the country to tap into the federal government's funding for gas infrastructure. Head of its domestic gas infrastructure summit in Abuja, the chairman of the ACCI Energy Trade Group, Mr. Chinedu Maduka, explains that the nation possesses huge gas deposits and must be harnessed towards the socio-economic development of the country. And Forex trading at the FMDQ exchange ended the second week of October positive, as total turnover rose by 109.52% week on week to $683.97 million as at Friday, October the 13th. Highlights of transactions carried out for the week shows that the FX spot market recorded a 109.84% increase to settle at $682.92 million. At the same time, turnover in the FX derivatives segment rose by 6.06%, and this was solely driven by activities in FX forwards turnover. Meanwhile, the Naira depreciated by 0.55% week on week to 772 Naira 92 Kaba against the dollar at the average Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange fixing at the end of the week. And the domestic bourse added last week's gains as investors' interest in Boa Cement and Dangote Sugar drove the performance higher. As a result, the all-share index climbed by 1.12% week on week, while the market cap rose close to the 37 trillion Naira mark. However, the activity level was mixed as the total volume equities traded declined by 39.6%, while the value increased by 9.9% week on week. Meanwhile, sectoral performance was broadly positive as industrial goods, consumer goods, and insurance and oil and gas indices advanced, while the banking index declined. Thomas White topped a list of 38 gainers, up by 30%, and Prestige Assurance led 32 other losers, down by 10%, while the trio of Access Holdings, Nemeth, and Fidelity Bank were the top three most actively traded stocks for the week. I'd like to bring you some highlights and expectations for next week. We'll see the September inflation report, which is expected to be released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Monday. October 16th. That's coming up. The money market, the overnight lending rate is expected to trend upwards as 360 billion naira debits for FGN bond auction may offset the anticipated 145.98 billion naira FGN bond coupon inflow. Over to the bonds market, a result of October FGN bond auction is expected to influence sentiment. At the auction, the DMO will be offering 4 instruments worth 360 billion naira through reopenings. At the Treasury bills market, a lower demand for instruments expected by investors in the NTB secondary market amid tight liquidity. And lastly, at the equities market, intermittent profit taking is expected to persist amid bargain hunting activities at the investors positioned for Q3 2023 earnings season. And that's business news. Back to Kayode with the rest of the news at 10.
Well, thank you, Ladi. And now for a trip around the world of sports, let's head over to our Abuja studio, where Victoria Longjan is sitting by. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, Kayode. Welcome to Sports News. Fifth seed Andrei Rublev has booked his place in the final of the Shanghai Masters. Rublev beat Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria 7-6, 6-3. The Russian, who is yet to drop a set in the tournament, will face Hubert Hurkacz in the final.
7-6. Game set about Rublev to Tassilov. 7-6, 6-3.
Meanwhile, Hubert Hurkacz ended Sebastian Korda's run at the Shanghai Masters, advancing to the final with a 6-3, 6-4 win. The Pole, seeded 16th, won 85% of the points on his first serve, aided by 14 aces in the 77-minute semi-final match. In the final, Hurkacz will be seeking his 7th ATP Tour title. And Super Eagles coach Jose Pesero says Victor Osimhen will undergo a scan and is likely to miss Monday's friendly against Mozambique, also in Portugal. Pesero substituted the Napoli forward in the 55th minute during the 2-2 draw in friendly with Saudi Arabia on Friday. Osimhen will undergo an MRI scan to determine the extent of the hamstring injury he suffered in his country's 2-2 draw in the friendly with Saudi Arabia. He is expected to find out the results of the scan on Sunday. And South Africa's players and coaches were in no mood to downplay the magnitude of the World Cup quarter-final against host nation France. Sunday's match presents a unique challenge for the Springboks against the buoyant host nation. South Africa won the only previous World Cup encounter between the two sides in 19-15 in the semi-finals in Durban in 1995. And cricket fans across India burst into celebration immediately after India steamrolled Pakistan by 7 wickets in a lopsided blockbuster World Cup match. A stack of fans poured out of the Narendra Modi Stadium, singing, dancing and waving Indian flags as the hosts maintained their unblemished 50 overs World Cup record against their arch-rivals. Amdadad had been in the grip of cricket fever ahead of the tournament's most anticipated match, and India got themselves in the driving seat early by bundling out their opponents for 191 side 43 overs. Celebrations went beyond the western Indian city, with residents taking to the streets to celebrate and set off firecrackers across the country. And that's it on Sports News. I'm Victoria Longchin. It's back to you, Coyote.
Thank you, Victoria. Outside our shores now, Israel says it is gearing up for the next stages of its war with Hamas, which it says will entail widespread strikes and significant ground offensive in retaliatory operations following the October 7th deadline attacks by Hamas on its soil. Israel's military had told more than 1 million people living in northern Gaza Strip to relocate to the south of the territory ahead of a ground offensive by its forces as thousands flee by vehicle and on foot. Meanwhile, reports say that women and children were killed when a strike hit their vehicles as they headed away from northern Gaza. The United Nations has described the relocation order as horrendous, while the U.S. urged Israel to take every precaution to avoid killing civilians.
We want justice! We want justice! We want action! We want action! We want boycott! We want boycott! We want sanctions! We want sanctions! What do we want? Justice! What do we want it?
Meanwhile, thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters have taken to the streets in their numbers across the UK, mainly in London and Manchester, in what they describe as Palestine Solidarity Campaign demonstration. In London, the protesters marched in the streets from the BBC's new broadcasting house to Downing Street. Palestine flags and supportive placards were waved as people chanted during the march. More than 1,000 police officers were said to have been deployed, and the Met Police said at least 7 people have been arrested, including 1 for criminal damage and 2 for public order offences. In a separate statement, the Met Police said there have been small pockets of disorder, including flares, bottles and fireworks being thrown at police. The police had earlier warned that anyone showing support for Hamas, a proscribed terrorist organization, or deviating from the route would face arrest. And back home, let's bring you news just in. Armed bandits this evening have again abducted 2 students of Federal University Gusau in Zamfara State. The 2 students, according to an eyewitness account, were male and female who were abducted in their off-campus hostel around 9 p.m. today in Sabungarin Damba of Gusau, the state capital. Residents say the bandits invaded the community a few minutes after 8 p.m. evening prayer and started shooting sporadically in order to scare the residents. And the main news again. No fewer than 7 persons were today killed, with several others injured and properties destroyed following a fire incident that occurred from a power surge at Kabong area of Gadabiu in Just North local government area of Plateau State. That's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Kaya Lukikilu. Good night.